In our continuing look at what love looks like, I'm going to look at a place we normally don't look uh, today, but I think it's a good example of what love looks like when things get rough. Uh, we're going to look at Matthew chapter 26, verses 36 to 46. It's the story of the Garden of Gethsemane. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be grieved and distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch with me." And he went a little beyond them, and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, "So you could not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Keep watching and praying, that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, saying, "My Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done." He came again and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them again and went away and prayed a third time, saying the same thing once more. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. Behold, the one who betrays me is at hand." Now, how does this look like love? What are we talking about here? Well, besides being obedient, part of being obedient, I should say, is submission to God's will. Submission to what God wants. To love God is to totally, absolutely, completely submit to Him, even when it hurts, even when His will takes us where we don't want to go. Jesus here, he knew what was going on. He knew what the plan was. He knew what his purpose was. He knew that there was no other way to be saved, for us to be saved, unless he died for us. But he didn't like facing the fact that he was fixing to be crucified, beaten, mocked, scourged, and crucified. It was going to be painful. And he was already dealing with a lack of sleep. Yes, he's the Son of God, but he was also Son of Man. And he physically was wore out before he even got started. But let's look at how we submit to God when where life is taking us is not the fun places. He went off with his friends to pray. First thing we need to do is talk with the Father about our concerns. Seek support from faithful friends, but don't be disheartened if they fail you. We are humans. We are fallible. We let others down even when we don't want to. But seek the support of faithful friends, but know that they're limited. And present your request to God. Jesus asked God 3 times, "Father, if there's any way that this can pass from me, that I can get out of this. Please let it happen. But your will, not mine. Being willing to submit to wherever God takes us there. Don't be disheartened when your friends do fail, but continue in prayer. He would come, he would find Peter and James and John, his very closest, most dependable apostles, or at this point disciples, and they were sound asleep, wore out, physically limited. Their spirits were willing, flesh was weak. But he continued in prayer, continued presenting his request to the Father. And finally, when the time for action comes, get up, follow God. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what the day holds. We have our plans, we have our thoughts, we hope that if this or that happens, this will go on. But there's going to be a day for you and for me when death is coming. Don't know if it'll be suddenly, like a car wreck, heart attack, stroke, aneurysm. Don't know if it'll be slow, like a battle with cancer. But there'll be a time when death is coming for us. And none of us anticipate or look forward to that with any sense of pleasure. We know it's not going to be fun, it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be a yippee-skippy time until it's done. Then we'll be with Christ in paradise. But going through it is going to be rough. So when we get that news, how are we prepared to show our love for God? How are we prepared to honor Him in our death, in our mode of dying? How are we preparing to live today knowing that whatever it is we're facing is going to be a long slog? There are some folks that they get up every morning knowing they have the same battles to fight and there is no end in sight. But they get up, they put their trust in God, and they follow Him. Their prayers, I'm sure, are heartfelt. Lord, do something. Fix this. I hate to say it, but God doesn't always fix things the way we want to fix it. He doesn't always make things the way we want them made. But we can trust God to lead us through them, bring us through them, and bring us into a time of rejoicing and peace with Him. So love for God, love itself, is being submissive to Him and to the needs of others, even when it is absolutely miserable for us to do it. Love for God looks like Christ in Gethsemane. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt things that charm me most, I sacrificed them to his blood. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did such love and sorrow meet? O'er thorns compose so rich a crown. Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so